Hey guys, it's Scott with scottieb Cards, and in this video I want to look at Topps Definitive and decide, is it actually better than Dynasty? So, the question is raised, is Topps Definitive better than Topps Dynasty for rookie patch autographs in particular? I don't want to spoil my answer, but the answer is probably not. But I want to look at why I think it's crazy that we are valuing Dynasty so much higher than these definitive cards, and explain why there's some major pros for these definitive cards and they're kind of being slept on. It's probably the most high-end rookie cards you can get that are slept on right now. And so let me just jump into this really quick. What are definitive RPAs? Rookie patch autographs is what RPA stands for, but there are 50 of them for the base card. There are 3 parallels, a green out of 25, a purple out of 10, and a 1 of 1 red. That's it. One image, one card, right? That sounds very simple. Everybody has one image and one card. You would think that, but if we actually look at Dynasty, they have 9 different cards for a majority of rookies. So here's Adley Rutschman and his rookie RPAs. So you can see the only real difference between a lot of them is he just smiles and like moves slightly, and they use just a bunch of headshots for him. There's only one that looks like it's actually from a game. It's down there in the bottom left. And this is a big issue with some collectors and Dynasty. Dynasty was not always this way. Up until the last few years, we actually used to have action shots. Even Bobby Witt in 2022 had some action shots. I don't know if Julio Rodriguez, but I know that Bobby Witt for sure did. And then he also had some headshots. And so we're seeing these headshots become the baseball card, and then it's just very overly designed. Not like bad overly designed, but it's a very highly designed card. Lots of foil, lots of etching, lots of things to make the card pretty with a big jumbo patch. But if we look at Definitive, however, we're seeing a few things different than Dynasty. Again, we only have one image, and again, the base is numbered to 50. Here with Dynasty, each of these cards is going to be numbered to 10, numbered to 5, and numbered to 1. So you have 16 for each of these cards, which equates to 144 total RPAs for Adley Rutschman from Topps Dynasty, and that's just the horizontal card. They also have vertical that they introduced this last year, a couple years, I think in 2022 they introduced it, where now we have vertical, and we also have the jumbo. And so we're actually seeing some dilution in Dynasty itself, where Definitive, we have the one rookie patch autograph. And we can see with this Pete Crow Armstrong, this is his 1 of 1. Only 1 of 1 that he has. Does not have a MLB batters logo or anything. It is a Nike swoosh. But we also have some like this Colton Cowser purple. This is a nice jumbo patch. We have the Jackson Churio has a decent patch. They all have a patch, just like Dynasty does as well. So that's the first advantage, is you do get on card, game worn, chunky patch autographs with one image, with the base card numbered to 50 with one image, which I want to emphasize is a big deal. So here's the Paul Skeens that Topps just released for their mock-up for Topps Dynasty that's being introduced on June 25th, I believe. And Dynasty is expensive, not saying Definitive's not. For a box, they're both very expensive. Dynasty is a 1-card product. Definitive is going to get you, I think, like 10 cards. They're all autographs or relic cards type of a thing. But here you can see what Topps is doing. They basically go to a shoot and they just take a bunch of photos and they change that photo and then call it a 1 of 1 because it's a different photo. It's a different card in general, according to Topps. And this is essentially what all of the comments are. This guy says it should have been an out of 2. I don't think he realizes that Paul Skeens is probably going to have 9. So it should be an out of 9 technically if you want to count all the 1 of 1s that way. But we can also see just rotate his head 1 degree at a time and then you can have 361 of 1s, which is kind of funny. But either way, that is an issue that people have with Topps Dynasty. And on top of that, there's better photography we talked about. These are action shots. These are players playing baseball, which I love about Topps Definitive. Here's Paul Skeens throwing a pitch, and guess what? He's a pitcher. You wouldn't really know that from right here, but he's a pitcher. Then we have Junior Caminero swinging a bat. We have Austin Wells in a game. That's one nice thing about it. On top of that, the RPAs in Definitive are vertical, while the RPAs in Dynasty are typically horizontal for those cards in general. So I already hit on this a little bit, but there are significantly less of each player in Definitive than there are in Dynasty. So for a typical player has 9 different versions of their card, like an Adley Rutschman, you have 144 total RPAs with these 9 images across them, versus if you go to Definitive, like this Junior Caminero right here, this base out of 50, you're only going to have 86 total Definitive RPAs because you only have the 3 parallels, the green out of 25, the purple out of 10, and the 1 of 1 red. So that's a big difference. That's almost half for what you had with Dynasty, which I think is a big advantage for Definitive. On top of that, there's a much larger rookie checklist. This is also an issue people have with Dynasty, is that you don't have all the rookies. So not all the rookies, like a Jose Ramirez as an example. Dynasty was introduced in 2014, but a lot of the rookies didn't have Dynasty cards. So don't, that's not what I'm saying, but more so, he was not a top prospect. He was not a hyped up player. He was not good his first 2 years years in the big leagues, or his first cup of coffee, and then maybe his second year he was good in that. But he was not supposed to be Jose Ramirez, and because of that, he would not have been on the Dynasty checklist, but there's a decent chance he could have been on the Definitive checklist because it's almost double as big, so you have the chance to get other rookies outside of just the top tier cards. Maybe that's a negative, maybe that's a positive, but it just allows you to have more options and be able to go after more cards than just the Ellie De La Cruz and the Gunnar Hendersons and the Bobby Witts. You can go get more niche players as well, which is kind of cool for Definitive. I also want to point out, while I personally do like the design of Dynasty more than Definitive, Definitive was designed to match other brands. This is new in 2024. So historically, the Definitive RPAs were also horizontal, just like Dynasty. This changed in 2024. They made them vertical to match historical precedents across other sports. So here you have the exquisite LeBron RPA, here you have the Jason Tatum, here you have the Joe Burrow, and here you have the Wyatt Langford. It looks like it matches, and so that is good. It looks like the same type of card, and that's one big advantage for Topps Definitive versus Topps Dynasty. I also want to note, we talk about iconic. When you think of LeBron's exquisite rookie patch autograph, you know what the image in the card looks like. This is it right here. But when you think of the Shohei Ohtani Dynasty rookie, what do you think of, right? There's 5 different images for Ohtani, maybe 4, but now players have 9 different images. It's going to be very difficult to have an iconic card. Whereas a Definitive, again, you have one image, one action shot. Every Wyatt Langford Definitive RPA looks just like this one. So while the patch and the parallel might change slightly, the actual card can become iconic, potentially, which I don't think Dynasty can do, simply because the images change consistently. So I do like that personally. So top takeaways, I am not saying Definitive is better than Dynasty. I'm not saying you should buy Definitive over Dynasty. I did not hit in pricing in this video, but Definitive is significantly cheaper. We saw recently for Gunnar Henderson, did this in another video, so I don't have it on my screen, but what it was is we looked at his Dynasty RPA, it's like $2,300, while his Definitive RPA was like $350 to $400, significantly less. So it is interesting to say, I'm not saying that Dynasty's worse than Definitive, it's not. Dynasty's probably going to be better. The hobby doesn't care about what me on YouTube thinks about this type of stuff. They pay with their wallets and what they think is best. But I do think that there is some things that are silly about that, and having this conversation, making sure we're educated on these different products is important, especially because Topps does change things periodically. So I do like one image. I like it's a better image. I like there's less cards. I like there's limited parallels. I like that it's game worn. I do like it's a bigger rookie checklist. All of that is a good thing about Definitive. And I already talked about the next 3 points, but I want to hit again. Definitive is just cheaper right now. So if you want to get a cool RPA of a player, feel free to check it out. And the Dynasty design is prettier and better looking, but it seems like that was intentionally designed for Definitive to match historical precedents. So very interesting. Let me know in the comments down below if I'm onto something here or if this is just nothing, a big nothing burger. Either way, I think Definitive should be looked at more. I will be looking at Definitive for players I care about. My main issue is I don't really collect ultra modern, so it's not going to be a huge deal for me, but I thought there are more things I actually like about Definitive on paper than Dynasty. But man, I'm still a sucker for both. I still love both. I know people who love Dynasty are going to be mad at me in the comments. Don't be mad at me. It's just me making a case for a different card for fun. Dynasty is always going to be worth more, but something to check out. Let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are, and I'll see you in the next video.